Good morning. Welcome to the Avid training. Hopefully you received the email and you brought some lesson documents with you for our Avid professional development today. At the very least, hopefully you are sitting with your primary PLC. All right, Avid stands for the Advancement via Individual Determination. So just think about that for a minute. What does that mean? Yes, you're absolutely correct. So it means that the students, if we're thinking about our students, they take their own motivation, their own intrinsic motivation, and they use that to advance themselves. All right, we're going to do a little activity really quick. So you're going to pick a card. Just pick any card out of my deck. Okay, what card did you get? All right, he got the 10 of hearts. All right, let me go over here. What card did you pick? The King of Hearts. Okay, you can just put it back in my deck. All right, and what card did you pick? The 3 of Spades. All right, and then over here, what card do you pick? He got the 8 of Clubs. Okay, keep those cards in mind. We're going to do something with them in just a little bit. Okay, but while we do that, I want to introduce the Avid site team here at Klein Collins. So, Christy Phillips is our Avid elective teacher. Rachel Lambert is our administrator and our site coordinator. Kelly McClay is another administrator, and she's also our student support and behavior specialist. Monica Grant is our Avid counselor. Jackie Boyd is our math content teacher. Kathleen Dresner is our science content teacher. Krista Jarvis is our English content teacher. And Jennifer Mick represents social studies. These are our campus experts on Avid. Okay, so what is Avid? We talked a little bit about this during our summer professional development, but I want to show you or remind you what Avid is really all about.
Kids' lives and trajectories are being changed, right? We see it every day.
We're meeting a need for kids, and whether they need a place where they feel like this is their family, or whether they need the structure and the organization it gives you, or whether they need the skills to prepare them to be a leader, to be more self-confident, to speak up for themselves, we see a need.
It's definitely a reward, you know. It's humbling to see that you had an opportunity to help a student change their family legacy.
I started freshman year by failing 2 classes, so my GPA was a 2.6, and I was not heading in the right direction. Teachers saw potential. They saw that when I tried to do my work, I could get it done. I could get 100. I had the potential of being an A+ student. I just never had the drive or the motivation to do it. And they recommended me for this program because they thought that this program would help me develop as a person, as a student. They told me it will help you get into college. When I heard those words, I'm like, I'm in.
Challenging Daniel and watching him develop that purpose, right? Once he got that purpose, he was pretty special, right? He kind of knew what he wanted to do, and he went that way. He grew up a lot.
My parents at home, they never went to high school here. They never went through the school system in the U.S., so I needed all the help that I could get. They found out about this program, and they were like, okay, if you want to go all into this, you do it because it's the best thing to do. We can't help you. I don't know how to tell you how to study for the SAT, but if I need to take you somewhere so that they can help you, that's how we're going to support you. By senior year, I was averaging a 4.0, and I got accepted into Texas Tech and University of Arkansas and several other schools. I want to major in business marketing. My dream career is to be a lawyer.
My hope prayer for our kids is that they have the tools, right, to be successful, not just in college, but after college in life. On a personal level, I think If we can teach our kids to think, to learn, and to work with integrity, I think we win.
We've seen kids grow from 7th graders just starting the program to these seniors who are just really, really impressive adults. You know, it brings tears to our eyes, and we keep doing what we're doing because we know it's making a difference.
I'm the first out of my family to graduate high school. I'm the first out of my family to attend college. So it was unprecedented in my family, but it was something that it's now a tradition, and it's the first of many of my accomplishments.
Okay, so after watching Daniel's story, what are some characteristics that you see in Daniel? Yes, we see that Daniel is very intrinsically motivated. He wants to be successful. Yes, he has goals, right? He wants to go to college. He has an idea of what he wants his future to look like. What else do we notice about Daniel? He is the first one in his family to go to college, so he doesn't really have much support at home. And so we can be that support for those students here on our campus. Okay, so what is Avid? Avid is a college preparatory elective class, and it's for students like Daniel who want to be better. Okay. It's just a collection of best practices. It teaches the students study and organization skills that they can use in your classrooms. It is preparation for a four-year university, and it is that support that they may not get at home to be successful in maybe like a pre-AP, an AP, or a dual credit class. Okay, what Avid is not, and what I want to really emphasize, is that Avid is not a blow-off class. It's not study hall. These kids are not going to be able to bring their work into my class as an Avid teacher and get to just sit there and do their work. Okay, they're actually learning strategies that help them prepare for a path to college. It's also not for unmotivated students. If a student's not motivated to go to college or to have, dreams outside of high school, then Avid is not for them. Okay, so I want to talk about repetition. Repetition is one strategy that we teach our Avid students. And before we begin, I want to see if there's anybody in the room that can recall those cards that we picked at the very beginning of our professional development. So approximately, like 10 minutes ago at the beginning of our professional development, we selected some cards from my deck. And can anybody remember what those cards were? And if you selected a card, you can't guess. Somebody that did not pick a card. And don't tell people. Okay, how about you? Can you tell me what those cards were? Okay, you got the 10 of hearts and the 3 of spades. Can anybody else remember? Yes, there was a king. A king of what? A king of hearts. Good. And what else? There was one more. One more that you guys are forgetting. The 8 of clubs. So that's the other one that we did. And so I want to show you guys what just happened. Okay, so let's watch this little video. Okay, this is a video about the rate of forgetting with study and repetition.
So you're thinking to yourself about now, hey, Cornell Note video maker guy, what does repetition have to do with my life? I'm glad you asked. What you're looking at here is a graph called the rate of forgetting, which comes from research by a German statistician named Hermann Ebbinghaus. And what this data shows is that with any type of information, after our initial interaction with that information, our retention of that is going to go down to 60, 50, 40, even down to 30% retention from where we initially started, which is pretty bad news, except that with a first repetition of that material, we can bump our retention all the way back up to close to 100%, and then it's going to go down even slower than it did before. And as it starts to fade away in our brain again, we can bump it up with a second repetition, and then continue bumping it up with a third, fourth, and fifth repetition where that level of retention stays really high. So why this is good news is that if you had a test, say right here around day 8, if all you had was your initial interaction with that material, you would expect to have less than 40% retention, and you would probably expect to fail that test. But if we had gone back and gotten a first repetition of that information, then our retention is significantly higher, although it's still below 60%. But with the second repetition, now I'm up above 70%, I would expect to pass that test. And if I had even gotten a third repetition, my retention level is above 90%, I would probably have enough knowledge to make an A on that test. So that kid that sits with you in your pre-AP or honors class that always makes good grades, it's not just because they're smarter than you. It's because they figured out how to get multiple repetitions of the material. In Avid, we call this the 10-24-7 strategy, which means that within 10 minutes to 20 minutes of our initial interaction with information, we're going to get our first repetition. And as that information starts to fade away in our head, we're going to get our second repetition within about 24 hours, and then our third repetition within 7 days. So that when that test or assessment comes along, I'm ready to go. I know I have enough information to be able to get an A on that test.
Okay, so after watching that video, how can students get that first initial repetition? Usually they'll get some sort of repetition with like the notes or, something like that that you give them. And then their second repetition would come from in a math class. Maybe it would come from an assignment or an activity that you do over the notes that you introduced. And then maybe a third level of repetition might be a warm-up. A fourth level of repetition might be the review. And then they take the test. So we're trying to get as many repetitions as we can, and that's just so that students can remember. When we did the deck of cards activity, I gave you the deck of cards. I said, okay, yeah, go ahead and remember this. We're going to do something with it later. But I never reintroduced it to you. I never asked you to repeat it to me in between. Had I done that, you would have had a higher chance of getting the cards correct. More of you would have remembered. We wouldn't have forgotten about the 8 of clubs. But I didn't tell you, hey, go ahead and remember those cards again. Hey, what else can we do with those cards so that you will remember them? Okay, maybe if we had made like a little song about them, you would have had a chance to repeat them and you would have been able to remember it. So it's all about repetition. Okay, these are some Wicker strategies that the Avid team works on with the Avid students. And Wicker stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. And I want us to go ahead and take just a second, and I want you to look over these and think about a way that you could use these in your class. Or think of ways that you already do use them in your class. Can anybody share something that they do in their classroom? Yeah, we all do tutorials, right? A student fails a test. Hey, can you come before or after school and let's go ahead and reteach so that you can retest, right? We all do tutorials. Okay, so she does binders. How many of you do interactive notebooks? That's one that took off a couple of years ago, is interactive notebooks. How many of you have your students write their goals? Okay, what about graphic organizers when students are taking notes? I know that in my classroom, I use graphic organizers quite often because my philosophy is that if we can help students organize in their brain what they're learning, then they have a better chance of remembering what they learned. Anything else that you guys see? What about something that maybe you don't do, but that you could see would be beneficial to do? Reflections, especially in science, since the science and math are together right now, I could see how reflections would be very beneficial in science. What else? Anybody else? Again, yeah, summarizing. Summarizing and reflections would kind of go hand in hand, right? Okay, so now I want to take a minute, and I want you to think about an upcoming lesson. And I want you to go ahead and summarize the lesson on the sticky notes that are around the room. So take your sticky note, and then that lesson that you brought in today, or if you didn't bring a lesson because you didn't get the email, if you can just think about a lesson that you did previously or that you have planned, and just write a summary of that lesson. Okay, so summarizing is a Wicker strategy. It's under reading, and it's a way to summarize the lesson so that students can reflect back on that and think about what they did that day. Now, in the summary, it needs to be specific. So like maybe you use the quadratic formula to solve quadratics. You would want to actually put the quadratic formula on your sticky note. Okay, this is Costas levels of thinking, and we're still thinking about that lesson that you brought with you or the one that you just summarized. And Costas levels of thinking develops the rigor. So on the first floor, this is basic level questioning. You might ask the students to complete a blank quadratic formula and have them fill in the blank with the variables that would go in there. You might, in biology, you might have them describe something. You might have them define something. If you're starting a new lesson, you might have them define the vocabulary words. Okay, but then in the second floor, it increases the level of questioning. So it increases the rigor. Now you might ask them to compare and contrast. On the third floor, you would increase the rigor even more in your questioning. Okay, and so these are ways for you to increase rigor in your classroom with your questioning. And again, these are just common strategies that we probably already use in our classroom. Okay, I want you to use the Costas levels of thinking, and everybody has a copy of this at their table. So I want you to use the Costas levels of thinking, and I want you to use another sticky note. And I want you to break out your lesson plan. So think about your lesson plan that you brought with you or the one that you wrote about previously. And I want you to write a level 1 question about your on your sticky note. Then on the bottom half of your sticky note, I want you to write a level 2 or level 3 question. So fold your sticky note in half. On one half, write your level 1 question. On the other half, write your level 2 question. Yes, I would like for these two to be related to each other. So these two questions, I would like for them to be related to each other. Okay, so hopefully at the top you now have your level 1 question. At the bottom you have your level 2 or 3 question. But think about how powerful this would be for a student if on one side of a sticky note they summarized the lesson, and then on the other side of the sticky note they answered a level 1 question at the top of their sticky note and a level 2 and 3 question at the bottom of their sticky note. And then on that one sticky note they had everything that they did for that lesson. This would be very powerful for a student to go back and reflect on to get their repetition. Okay, so this is a recent college visit to U of H that the Avid team took their current students on. This was in February at the beginning, and they got to, just tour the campus, and just another way to get those kids motivated to see, what the possibilities could be. For a student, especially whose parents have never gone to college, getting to visit a college was a really big deal. Okay, and then we have a challenge for the golden ticket that the Avid team wanted to share with you. They would like for you to drop your evidence into the Avid Teacher Evidence folder that has been shared with you on Google Drive. And this link is the folder in the Google Drive. But for each lesson with evidence that you submit, your name will be entered into a drawing for a golden ticket. And if you are chosen, then you will get to skip all the lines at checkout at the end of the school year. You just have to wave your golden ticket, and then you get to fly right to the front of the line, and your summer begins earlier. Be sure to attach pictures and student samples. They would love to see you guys using the Avid strategies in your classrooms. Thanks for being such a great audience.